Welcome back. You're listening to Masters of Reinvention. I'm Angela Watson Robertson. My guest today is Georgina Cannon, who is talking with us about her book, The Third Circle Protocol. And we're talking about how you can learn to relate to yourself and others in a healthy, vibrant, and evolving way. So, Georgina, in this segment, I wanted to talk about the relationship specifically with aging parents. So as we get older and our parents get older, and I'd like to talk about how we can improve those. And this is something, as we talked about during the commercial break, that's really up for me right now, specifically as my father ages and my relationship with him becomes more complicated. So first off, can you tell me a little bit more, and tell our listeners a little bit more about why relationships with our parents are so complicated and even become potentially more complicated as they age?
Well, they're complicated because our parents are used to telling us what to do and used to being always right and being the oracle. I cough as I say that.
Yes.
And the balance changes, begins to change. And most often, particularly the father, will resent that more than anybody because they're used to having people do what they're told. You know, the old days of patriarchy. The man ruled the house, the man set the standards. We didn't wash our dirty linen in public. The neighbors never knew about our private life. We kept ourselves to ourselves. Now, suddenly they're becoming vulnerable. Suddenly you're going to be making arrangements for them, whether they be drastic, like moving into a senior's home or a hospital, or whether it be slower and getting help in the house. It's very difficult to do that. We found that some of the best way of doing it is have an outside person make that sort of decision with, especially the father. So it might mean, for instance, a social worker going in saying, just come to see how you are. I'm going to come in and see you once a week. We're going to have a chat, play chess, play bridge or whatever, chat. And then find out if they're mentally competent, because sometimes dementia sets in very slowly and then increases. And you have to increase the attendance in the house. So it's good to start early with some sort of outside visitor. I have friends who are gerontologists who advise me on this part. But we have to operate from their value system, not ours. And it's hard to get our ego out of the way. We think their ego is big. You know, we're doing all the work. Why can't they do it the way they want us to do? Well, if that sounds familiar, that sounds like somebody's father or mother, right? We become their mother or father, and we make it difficult if that's how we act.
I see. Tell me more about what you mean by operating within their value system, and then how can you determine really what their value system is?
Well, I would ask, and you need to do that face to face. It's not something to do over the phone or you know, email or anything. You just sit down and say, Mom, you know, things are changing. We all change. I'm not 25 anymore. I mean, this is how I would do it. I'm not 25 anymore. And I find I can't run that 3 mile every morning like I used to. I also find that sometimes I'm forgetting names. And I guess that sort of thing's happening to you too. And you've got a couple of years on me. And I would keep it light, very light. And you've got a couple of years on me. So, you know, I'm a planner. I'd like to talk to you what you think the next steps might be for both of us when you're going to need more help. For instance, you might want someone to go shopping for you. Don't know if that's a good idea. You might want, and they might say, if it was anything like what I experienced, don't want the people next door. No, they don't want to think I'm going loony or something. No. It's nothing to do with anybody else. It's just you and me talking. Just you and me. Absolutely. And it'll be a friend that you've met at the bridge club or a friend you've met as far as they know, but it's probably a social worker or someone that comes in to see you or someone that we pay, comes in maybe once or twice a week, cooks a couple of meals. You know, actually, if the meals are really good, I wouldn't mind having them at home myself. You know, keep it light, keep it easy so that you're not doing the finger wagging, I told you parental stuff.
Okay. Yeah, I like the recommendation of keeping it light and almost some of the self-deprecating humor and really coming at it from a place of not judgment or or any of that. So as for those of us that are seeing our parents age and starting to make plans for them, how do we manage the emotions? So that's a great practical tip of, here really let's just talk to them and really ask them, what do you want? How do you see it? What's your vision? But what about all the triggering of emotions or hurt feelings in that conversation, specifically around that role reversal, changing where you feel like you're having to parent your parent? How would someone manage those? And is it really just as simple as just kind of compartmentalizing, or what would you say?
Part of it is compartmentalizing. I'm going to say that, compartmentalizing, but the other part of it is allowing yourself to have those feelings and recognizing that they're perfectly normal, but making sure they stay out of the conversation.
Okay.
You have to put your big girl knickers on and behave like a kind, gentle adult, operating from your values, your best self. And when you feel hurt, upset, disappointed, betrayed, abandoned, all those feelings that come up when we're dealing with aging parents, you do it outside the car, driving on your way home. And by the way, and find someone to talk to about it, either a therapist or someone to download, because otherwise it just festers inside you. Not a good thing.
Yes.
And the therapist will say you're not alone. Mm-hmm. These feelings are valid, and there are thousands of people like you, mostly women, in this role, and we all have those feelings. Let's get them out there. Give them air. When you give something air, it dilutes it.
Mm-hmm. Okay. And what about this very similar scenario, but with a parent who you have not particularly ever had a positive relationship with, maybe even a parent you don't particularly like? Mm-hmm. Maybe you're trying as the son or daughter to have a good relationship, and this applies somewhat in my life. You're trying to have a good relationship. You're trying to do what you quote unquote should do. However, you've never really been close. I can see how this will be easier to do with a parent that you've always been really close with.
It's the other way around. It's the other way around.
What was that?
It's the other way around.
Oh, really? Okay. Yeah. So tell me more about that.
Because the person, I'm going to say you because it makes it easier. You're putting expectations on the relationship that was never there in the first place.
With which parent? The one that you are close to, or both?
The one that you weren't close to.
Or weren't close to, yes. Okay.
You put expectations that it's suddenly all going to come together and be warm and loving and cozy. Mm-hmm. It's not going to change. It is what it is. Mm-hmm. And it makes it easier because then you can operate from the intellect rather than the emotion. Mm-hmm. Keep the emotion out of it, because when the emotion and the intellect work together, the emotion always wins. So therefore, it doesn't work efficiently. If you look at that person, and as I say, I keep saying you because you're there.
Yes.
You look at that person and say, this person was named my father. He never played the father role in my life. He's a person that I, by default, have to take care of in this way. I'll do the best that I'm able to, like I would a neighbor that I cared about, and do the job. And it's a job.
Okay, so not necessarily expecting it to make you closer or having any of those expectations.
Not at all.
What about I know I've had clients, and we're going to go to break and wrap up here pretty quickly, but I know I've had clients who have said, well, I'm not sure, if I even want to be involved in their care at all. So sometimes that is tough to even know at what level to even be involved at all, depending on how your relationship's been with your parent before. And just really quick before we go, what are your thoughts there?
What would you do if it was a neighbor? Would you let someone just languish in pain, or would you get help? That's what I would say to you.
Yeah. Okay, that's great. All right. Well, we're about out of time today, but before we go, Georgina, please share with our listeners one more time how they can get in touch with you and where your books are available. Sure,
with pleasure. My books are available at Amazon.com, and you can reach me at GeorginaCannon.com or info@GeorginaCannon.com, and I answer every email.
Oh, great. So I want to thank Georgina Cannon for being with me here today and for sharing her work with us. Thank you so much, Georgina. Your book really blessed me, and our conversation today has really helped me, and hopefully it's helped many listeners as well.
Thank you very much. It's been a pleasure.
One final question for you. So since this is Master of Reinvention Radio and I'm the Reinvention Warrior, Georgina, what is your Reinvention Warrior message or your final message for our listeners?
Remember, you are so much more than you seem, and always operate from your best self.
Thank you. Thank you, my dear listeners, for joining us today. Again, I'm Angela Watson Robertson. If you'd like to contact me, you can go to my website at angelawatsonrobertson.com. Please join me the first Tuesday of the month at noon Central Time, 10 a.m. Pacific Time for Masters of Reinvention, your ultimate guide to changing your life. Each month, I'll be interviewing masters in the art of life reinvention and giving you practical tools that you can start applying today for a better life. I'll see you soon. Thanks for listening.
You've been listening to Masters of Reinvention with Angela Watson Robertson, the ultimate guide to changing your life. The only show on the radio to bring together top transformation experts who will show you how to positively change your life, along with expertly researched nutrition and lifestyle advice. See all of the Reinvention Warriors programs and free wellness tips at angelawatsonrobertson.com. Experience powerful life reinvention coaching and learn to beat fatigue naturally with our new program, Fatigue Warrior. And be sure to tune in to Masters of Reinvention each month on Transformation Talk Radio.
The preceding audio was via a Skype call.